Parshas Bamidbar explains to us the layout of the Shvatim in the Midbar. Each tribe was camped in a particular area, each had its place to be. And Rashi explains to us that Yisachar and Zevulun were close to Moshe and Aaron. And explains Rashi, because of their proximity, they became who they were. Throughout history, Yisachar and Zevulun were the Sar HaTorah, they were the Shvatim who were involved in Torah study and Torah support. Why did they merit becoming the great supporters and the great learners of Torah? Because they camped close to Moshe, close to Aaron. Explains Rashi, Tov l'shachin tov, the tzaddik not only affects himself, but he affects his neighbor as well. And this Rashi is rather difficult to understand, because everyone was there, had received the Torah on Har Sinai. All of the Jews had heard Hashem tell them, Anochi Hashem Elokecha. Yet Rashi is telling us the single reason why Yisachar and Zevulun became the great Torah masters was because they were close to Moshe and Aaron. That doesn't make much sense, because they were close in proximity, because they happened to have camped closer to Moshe, therefore they became who they were. This Rashi is difficult to understand. And I believe the answer to this Rashi is that we human beings are tremendously affected by our social climate, by the people around us. The reality is that Moshe and Aaron were very, very powerful personalities. They created a culture, they created a climate. Yisachar and Zevulun, because they lived right there, daily were affected. The climate, the currency, that which they valued became Torah, because those personalities were near to them. And as much as we human beings hate to admit it, we are tremendously affected by those things going around us. What Rashi is telling us is that Yisachar and Zevulun for history became the great masters of Torah. Why? Because they had been in proximity to Moshe, because their social climate was one of importance of Torah, therefore they became who they were. And I believe this Rashi shares with us a tremendous insight, and that is the average person thinks that he's smarter than the average person. We're all aware of social pressure, we're all aware of the influence of society, but when it comes to me, well, I'm different. The reality is a person's currency, that which he values, that which he strives for is greatly affected by those amongst whom he lives. And that reality is such that we have to be very cognizant of it, very aware of it. We have to choose our friends wisely. We have to choose our community wisely, because it affects what we value, affects what we aspire towards. The effects won't be seen in a day, in a week, in a month, but they slowly seep in. Our currency, our value system changes, friends greatly influence us, our community greatly influences us. We have to choose both wisely.